Yo, what's good, guys? How y'all doing? Y'all chilling? How are y'all surviving the summer? Hopefully y'all are having good vacations and doing all the fun stuff in the world. I've been in a hole for the last 15 days, my nice old Isaiah-shaped hole, as I've been trying to figure out how to pay my bills using eBay, and it's been a journey. And I'm just gonna make a whole video today talking about the things that we did that worked, the things that we did that didn't work. Yeah. You ready? Let's do this. All right. So I got a whole list right here. It's long too. All right. So let's talk about what didn't work first, and then we'll work after that. Number one, we tried this over the last couple of days, 2 days or something like that, because I didn't have any money. I spent all my money paying my bills, and then I was like, all right. So I have two options. Option one is to go DoorDash and then use the money from DoorDashing to buy inventory. Option two was to relist some of my older inventory, retake the photos, all that stuff, and see if we can get that stuff to sell. Guys, I relisted like 37 items or so. If your items suck and you relist them, it doesn't matter if you put new photos on them. When I list stuff, right? Usually when I'm listing good stuff, usually we get an offer to watcher within 24 hours on those items, usually. And I have gotten one offer to watcher on 37 items in like 48 hours. It's been horrible. So and I just listed items today, and I've sent out offers to watchers on many of those items, and I sold one. So no, that's not the game. I don't think that relisting your old stuff, if it sucks, is good. My old stuff wasn't that good, so it didn't work out too well. So that was not it. Number two, cross listing. I tried that. All the stuff sold on eBay before it even sold on the other platforms. So I guess I could have spent money on getting a Posh bot or whatever, or whatever these things are that allow you to make money on these other platforms. But I was broke and I didn't want to spend money in order, I can't spend $50 or $30 on a Posh bot and I already used my free subscription on Flip, so I couldn't use Flip either. So I can't spend the money on a Posh bot just to make 2 or 3 sales when I could just make the 2 or 3 sales on eBay. So that didn't work either. I even cross-listed on Facebook Marketplace as well. I put the shoes super cheap to see if I can get somebody to rock and roll. Maybe people in my area don't like shoes on Facebook Marketplace. I don't know what it is, but it didn't work. So we tried Facebook, we tried Poshmark, neither one sold. We probably could have ran a garage sale or something like that. But my thought process was, if I'm gonna sell them for $5 at a garage sale, then I could just sell them for $5 on eBay too and ship it out. So that didn't work either. Number three, we tried a different category. We actually bought a drum set and a guitar. Quick tip: do not buy items if you don't know what they are or how to ship them that are over 32 inches long. Guitars, the guitar was 34 inches or 32 inches, something like that, long. It's like a little toy guitar. And it was a guitar and drum set. And we sold both of them very fast. We bought 3 guitars and a drum set. The drum set and the guitar went together, and then the other 2 guitars were separate. And we made, I think it was $48 on 2 of the guitars, and then the drum set guitar combo sold for $60. And I wasn't able to charge the amount of shipping that I wanted to, so I lost $5 on one, $10 on the other one shipping wise, and maybe the other one was close to break even, $2-3, something like that. Something along those lines. But then I had to buy 8 boxes as well to be able to ship out these guitars, which also made me lose money. Furthermore, because I don't sell in that category, I didn't have the ability to test the guitar or the drum set, because I don't know what the heck it is. I don't have the required facilities to test it, so I had to sell them at a cheaper price than what I could have gotten for them. So thus, I just ended up blowing a whole bunch of money on this, and it went poorly. I think at the end of the day, even though we sold them for above our buy cost, because I bought the drum set for $23 and the guitar that went with it was $10, so $33 all in. And the other 2 guitars were $13 each, something like that, $13, $14 each. And like I said, they sold for $47 and the drum set sold for $60. But I still lost some money. I think at the end I was negative $20, which is not the end of the world, but not ideal. I should sell shoes. Because I even when I was gonna make a video talking about this guitar drum set thing, and on the day that I was gonna make that video, I sold a pair of shoes for $90, and I'm like, do that. That's the aim. And shipping those were way easier than the hour and a half that it took for me to ship a drum set that's 32 inches long or 34 inches long, something like that. All right. Now, how did I pay my bills specifically? These are things that worked. What we did was we had June. I don't know the exact date. I think it was like June 12th or June 14th is when the previous bills were paid. So we needed to build the store up to a place where we could make enough money once we ran our markdown sales again. So I needed to just be consistent with my listings every day, put as many items in store as possible. And then when July came through, the goal was to run some heavier markdown sales to see if we can get some stuff moving. Biggest things that for us to allow that to happen is that every single day, like every day, guys, I go sourcing, like every day. And we try to buy usually between 12 to 15 items at minimum, ideally. If I get more than that, I list more than that. If I go out and get 27 items today, I'm listing 27 items. If I get 36 items, I'm listing 36 items. If I get 11, I'm listing 11. However many I get is the amount that I list. I just try to keep it above a certain number so I can make sure that it is allowing me to be able to pay my bills, you know. Also, like I said, we list everything that we buy, which is the goal, and that's allowing us to be able to turn our money over as quickly as we can. I know, of course, there is a common sentiment of like spreading your listings out 5, 5, 5, 5, 5 or something like that. But the way that I think about it personally is, let's say I list something today and it sells today, right? Then that means that I immediately get $30, $50, $60, $20, $18, whatever that number is, from that item today. Technically tomorrow because the money has to process and stuff like that. But same point, I get it immediately. If that item was split up into batches of 5, I might not have gotten to that item until Tuesday. I might not have gotten into that item until Friday. And thus, I might not be able to get the sale I won't get that sale immediately, so I won't be able to reinvest that money. So it allows me to reinvest my money a lot faster and kind of take advantage of the audience that we've been able to build via eBay and the audience that eBay has on its own. So hopefully that makes sense. Number 2, we cut a lot of expenses. We basically stopped spending money on anything. You know, we were Chick-fil-A fiends. You know, I used to love going to this little Chinese place that had these like little breaded sticks of chicken or whatever that you dip in some little sauce. I used to love those. I would get them couple times a week, you know, and we had to stop that. I was like, we're not spending any money on anything. We're going to play it as close to the chest as we can. So it was like, all right, we're buying food for today. And then when we or 2 days, next 2 days. And when we use all of that food, then we go buy more food. We do not go buy more food until after we buy that food. You know, I mean, so until after we have used that food, so we wouldn't be so wasteful. It was a lot of places in our lives where we're being very wasteful, both on the business side and the personal side. And all of the personal wastefulness disappeared. I was like, we don't have much money. We are poor. Like, we need to be as diligent as we can with our money. So like every dollar, we wanted to make sure that we were putting it towards inventory, excluding scenarios where we weren't able to do so. Like my daughter has to get diapers, she has to get milk, you know, stuff like that. We got to make sure she's big and strong. But like, if it's something that Mariah and I just like, you know, we just enjoy to have this, but like we don't necessarily need it, then we would transition over into like, we will get that later once we got a little bit more bread and our bills are paid. So that's kind of how that was going. Another thing, we were spending like $70, $80 in, this is gonna sound crazy, you guys. We're spending like $70, $80 a day in promoted listings. Not the ones where you have to pay a certain amount per day. It was just that our rate was so high that we were spending a lot of money. But I didn't find that my higher rate was resulting in more profit necessarily. Like you'd make more profit, quotation marks, but like it didn't seem as if I was getting a whole bunch of sales from the additional promoted. So we dropped it significantly and our sales didn't fall by much. Hold on one second. So that was, yeah, we dropped it a lot. And now we pay like $12 a day or something, $15 a day. So that's an extra 40 bucks, 50 bucks, and we have relatively similar sales to what we had before then. So if you are, I don't think that you shouldn't use promoted at all. I think they're very, very useful. It's just that I think that there is a diminishing return. Like, I would not be convinced that by going to a 20% promoted listings rate or 30% promoted listings rate, you're going to make more money than you were making before. You might sell more items, but the thing is, your sales are going to start to skew towards almost exclusively promoted listings. It would be like 90%, 95%, 98%. I don't know if the number would be for you. It depends on you and your category, of course. But for my store, as I went higher in promoted listings, the amount of promoted sales that I would have would increase. And due to that, you end up paying significantly more money in promoted fees, and you're not necessarily making enough money to offset that. Like, our ROAS used to be at our highest promoted listings, like six, like a ROAS of 6, and now we're at like a ROAS of 19.34 or whatever. So that's what it says right there. At least it says 19.34. It's up a good bit. So I don't know. That's just a thing to think about. If you are one of those people that's like, you know what, we promoted 25%. Like, maybe we should drop this down a little bit and we'll be better. Try it, go to 22, go to 18 and see what happens. Next, we were worried about this. Also, we had top rated again at some point in time after I dropped the video that said we did $500 in sales, somewhere around there. But we stopped the markdown sales after we made enough money to pay our bills. And I was very worried about this because the last time that we stopped the markdown sales, which was in June, our sales fell off a cliff. We started doing like $200 a day for 11 days or something like that, 10 days. And that didn't happen this time. This time when we stopped the markdown sales, we just started selling stuff at 30 bucks, 40 bucks, you know what I mean? And it was pretty good. I was very surprised and impressed of how things worked out. And we tried garage sales. Those are really cool. I think garage sales are going to be something we're going to do every weekend. Probably. They are broken. Like, I don't know if you guys know video game terminology, but they are broken. Just means that it is unbalanced. It is unfair. I don't know if you guys go to garage sales, but they are excellent because you're able to get quality items for, if you are disciplined, you can get quality items for an excellent price. And many of the items that we bought at the garage sales over the weekend, we sold pretty much all of them by now, and it's only been 4 days later, something like that. So super good. I think we're gonna go every weekend just to make sure that we can get opportunities to get, good shoes at a lower price. That's it. That's everything that we've done. So hopefully that's useful for you guys. Now let's talk about how things are going for us. I found out some pretty cool stuff recently, and I think it'll be interesting to you guys. One, I've sold 512 items in the last 31 days, which I think is pretty cool. Now, here's the coolest part about that 512. Let me click, see how many items we have in the store right now. We have, oops, I pressed the wrong button, y'all. We have 785 items in the store right now. So that would give us we can just use 800 since there are points of time of this month where my store is around 800. So what's 512 divided by 800? That equals a 64% sell-through rate. Now that's not actually true. That's not how sell-through rate technically works. But if we take 500 and divide it by 1312, sorry, 512 and divided by 1312, we get a sell-through rate per month of 39% using the more official way of doing sell-through rate, or how Terapeak does it. But either way, it doesn't really matter. You guys understand what I'm talking about. So with 800 items available in the store, we've sold 64% of those in a month. And if you look at the other way of sell-through rate, it's like, what did I just say? 39%. So not too bad. We're moving items. I think the quality of our sourcing is getting a lot better. I'm getting much better at making better choices, in addition to not falling victim to my tendency to be like, hey, we're going to buy this even though it might suck. I still look up pretty much all my items. It's not all of them anymore because I'm starting to see items that I've been, seeing for weeks now, and I go, oh, We just sold that yesterday. We just sold that a couple of days ago, and we just kind of buy more and more of that stuff. But for things that I don't know as well, or models that I haven't sold before, every single one of those gets looked up just to make sure that we're going to make money, unless, you know, they have a pair of Jordans that are in great condition for $2, you know, like Jordan 4s or something. That's different. In the last 31 days, we've done $12,888.75 in sales. That's an ASP of $25.17, which is up 13%, which is an indication that we're doing better. Also, remember, we have been running heavy markdown sales throughout the month of June, early June, in order to pay our June bills, as well as, you know, late June, early July, in order to pay our July bills. So, yeah, I mean, even to have a $25 ASP for someone who previously had a $19 ASP, including shipping, I think it's pretty cool. You know, it's a good balance. As we continue to not have to run as aggressive markdown sales, I wouldn't be surprised if we can jump into the 28s, 30s, maybe the early 30s, like 32, 33, 34. And I think that'll make our business even better. We've made $6,741.05 in cash flow, up 25.7%, even though our sales are only up about 0.3%, which means that we are getting more of the money than we were getting beforehand, which I think is also very cool. So we're getting close to that $7,000 mark, since we are much better at dealing with our personal expenses. In addition to, we're way more disciplined with our sourcing. It should make it so that our ability to grow this money gets way better than it's been in any other iteration of our business beforehand. So that's it. That's everything that we've been doing. I think our next steps are going to be try to eliminate debt, so that we can reduce our downside risk. I'm gonna make a whole video about this potentially in the future, but one of the things that I have realized over the last week or so is that my life is much easier the lower my expenses are. Because if I were to think about how would 2022 Isaiah, or even like early 2025 Isaiah, how would he perceive his future? He wouldn't have expected to deal with the struggles that he has dealt with, you know, over time. And I think for all of us, you run into unexpected circumstances, and due to that, the lower that your expenses can be, the easier it is for you to pivot in these circumstances. Like, if you were to have a 40% drop in sales, and like if that happened, that means you go out of business, that's rough, you know what I mean? Because you can't afford to keep the thing running. But if you were to drop by 50% and still be fine, that's a great place to be in. So I just want to reduce my expenses by reducing debt, and overall just lower our total risk profile, so that we can be able to make a bunch of money, and then as a result save a bunch of money. Because it's not really worth it if I have $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 in must-pay bills every single month, and then I'm making $5,000, $6,000. You don't really get to save that much. But if I had a $2,000 in bills or $2,500 in bills, then, and I'm making $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, you can save $3,000 a month or something like that. And that's a really great savings account by the end of the year. That's everything. Appreciate you guys. Hope it was valuable to you. Talk to you soon. Oh, one more. So far this year, we have done $102,000 in sales. We're up about 5% year over year, which isn't much, mainly because of the huge fall off that we had over the last 3 months. So I'm hoping that I can play catch up in the next, 6 months or so. And then in cash flow, they paid us like $47,000, which is neat. We still have to like buy inventory with that money. We still have to pay our bills with that money, which we've been able to do both. But like, I want to be able to like actually keep a significant portion of that money going into the next 6 months. So the plan is to at least do what we've done, and then, keep a larger portion of that money. So appreciate y'all. Talk to you soon. Peace.